tonight's township meeting. Today, we are having our workshop meeting. Blake will call the meeting to order and ask everyone to rise to pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Scott Skelton is in the back left-hand corner of the meeting room, videotaping tonight for Pembroke Fresh Air on YouTube, and this is also on Zoom, right? Warren?
Yes, we are recording.
We're recording it for Zoom. We'll go to open forum. Anyone on this side have anything they'd like to say? No? Anyone on this side? Jerry? No? Okay. We'll go over to our budget discussion, which is Peter. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Peter Bars. I'm the treasurer of this township. And what I plan today is to review the budgets for each one of the different funds. This is an initial workshop and discussion process. But this is not, it's not anticipated to, unless you choose to do so, to approve the preliminary budgets. The plan is to do that in the next month, and then it will be on display for 20 days, and then sometime before the end of the year, as required by law, the supervisors will be approving the budget for 2025 in each one of the different funds. But before I get started, it's come to my attention that there was a document that was put out, I guess, last meeting, and talked about some of the mentioned monies of the township being spent improperly, and it had charts or numbers. So I've been given a copy of that, and I just wanted to say for the record that it was inaccurate, entirely inaccurate. The first columns of that document talked or referred to actual DCD numbers off the DCD reports. The DCD reports are the audited statements of the township. The last column that showed this loss was our budget for the year, not actual numbers. We did anticipate at the time, a year ago, when we prepared the budget, that there would be a loss. Since that time, things have changed significantly. Interest rates have maintained. The amount of interest that the township has gained has been significant. There's some projects that haven't been completed. Earned income tax, real estate taxes, transfer taxes are all up significantly. So we anticipate, for the record, about a $280,000 profit. Okay, so that document was not accurate, and it was not a fair representation of where we are as a township today. And if there was any concerns about township funds not being used properly, that's inaccurate as well. These folks have maintained all monies. Any excess monies have been in high-yielding accounts and earned the maximum amount of interest that they could earn for the year. So that being said, is there anything anyone would like to add to that?
Thanks for doing that. I appreciate
Yeah, I
that.
appreciate you saying that.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
It's just a shame that the couple of people that had an issue aren't here to hear that.
Yeah, the people that the misinformation was given to in
Yeah.
particular.
I can't help that, but this is, I wanted to say for the record, the truth.
Yeah, the truth should be
Yeah.
given out as freely as the
Thank
misinformation.
you.
Or the facts, I should say. So in any event, let's go through the general fund budget. And the way that we budget here, and Warren is integral in this process, is we are conservative on the revenues, right? And we, I wouldn't say we're aggressive, but we try to be realistic on the expense side. So if there are a deficit in the general fund, there's a possibility, these are estimates and they're best guesses, these numbers, it's a possibility that it doesn't occur, okay? Which is what happened, we're anticipating it happening in 2024. Just to put that out on the record. The other thing I want to say is, we have a significant fund balance here in Honeybrook in our general fund. We're starting 2024 with a little over $4 million in the general fund. So this is an extraordinarily healthy township. The vast amount of townships and cities in Chester County would love to have this type of a surplus to manage the township and the needs of the township. So with that being said, I'll get into some of the specifics. Some of the changes that are noted, and we are anticipating, we are budgeting, the bottom line here that we're looking at for 24 is $488,000, $358,000 deficit, okay? One of the things we have to understand when we're doing a general fund budget is there are significant amounts of transfers out of the general fund into other funds. So the cash isn't being spent, it's going into other funds, which creates an expense, which creates a loss. So we have, of the $358,000 that we anticipate in effect as a deficit in 2025, $224,000 of that is getting transferred into other funds. 135, 143, $163,000 we're transferring into the capital reserve fund in anticipation of purchasing assets as they become older and deteriorate and need to be replacements. So every year what we do is we transfer money based upon the ages of the current assets that we have that Donnie uses over in the highway department. We put a fund together to replace the assets when they hit their useful lives. And we're also just like we did last year, we're anticipating transferring $60,000 into the recreation fund to fund parks and rec. But anyway, going back to the very beginning, some of the items that to note, we're projecting $375,000 in real estate transfer tax. We're budgeting $240,000. We're anticipating less development, which would mean less transfer taxes. Last year, this year we're anticipating $225,000 of interest income just in the general fund alone through our investment methodology. We're going to ratchet that down to $130,000 in 25, specifically because rates are dropping. So we're calculating it on the 3%. Our estimates are going to be based on the 3%. We've been earning well over 5% most of the year. So that's an item to note. Going up to the second page, up top, you can barely see it, but there's $40,000 engineering fee reimbursable. That's money that that we're going to bill developers for engineering fees that we incur that we can pass through to the developers. Right below that is $8,000. That's similar amount that we were able to bill to the developers or the folks that are doing projects that we're able to pass these costs along for. That just at the top of that second category, building permits, it's $120,000. We're anticipating $360,000. Through the end of August, we'd already received $265,000 of building permits. But with the anticipated drop in housing sales, we think that our building permits are gonna be down. So we're trying to be conservative on the revenue side here. We go to the next page. Actually, I have nothing on that page. You go to page 4, please. Yeah, keep going. I guess it's.
Which, you looking at?
413, yeah, it's the next section.
413.
There you go.
13 in the box.
So another big number for change, I mean, we're anticipating, right now we've got, through the end of August, we have $216,000 in building permits and inspection fees paid to the township. We're anticipating 340, and we're going to budget for 135, because we're seeing a slowdown, we're anticipating a slowdown in housing and new house construction. If you go to the next slide, please. This one, yeah, you'll notice the fourth number down, planning consultant. We are, Warren feels that we need to get our comprehensive plan updated, so we're planning on hiring a consultant to assist in that. That has not been, there's been no money spent. There was we approved the budget of $1,400, but we're going to get into it in 25 and get the comp plan, which is mandated, right?
It's good governance.
Good governance.
And we typically do review it every 10 years.
Yeah.
So we're at the 10-year
But
anniversary.
I mean, basically what it does is it says what's going on in the township, how's everything zoned, what's going on in those zones, and where we're going to go.
Vision of the township, which helps drive the zoning, so yes, it's best practice to review it every 10 years.
Yeah, essential, absolutely essential. You could go to the next slide, please. Yeah, snow and ice, I mean, our snow and ice has been very negligible. The cost, we want to be conservative, so we budgeted $20,000, we're only anticipating. We spent $11,400 through the end of August. We're not changing that, but in November, December, you're right, we're in October already, November, December, if we get hit, that number could go up. Right, we talked about storms on Thanksgiving and Halloween, right? So, I think $20,000 is a good number. For stormwater projects, we haven't spent, which is right in the middle of that screen, we haven't spent all of what we budgeted, and we only anticipate spending half of that. So we're going to go back and re-budget a similar amount that we did last year. Under maintenance of roads and bridges, the $50,000 at the bottom there, we spent 150. We're anticipating spending 100. We spent 150 through the end of August. We're not going to spend any more, but we're not going to spend anything near that. We don't anticipate that in 25, so we're going to go to a $50,000 number, and just above that, there's a $15,000 amount under other services and charges, which we anticipate spending on tree cutting and removal. If you go to the last page, please. So a new line item we have in agriculture and recreation, account 456, 730 library contributions. So we're planning on spending $42,000 that they requested for their capital expansion plan.
So the library has asked that we provide some assistance to help complete their current expansion that they're doing. The fundraising efforts, I don't think have kept up.
Heating and air conditioning.
So there was heating and air conditioning initially, now they're asking us to maybe do some of the highway occupancy permit items, which is the road the widening of their driveway, the laying of asphalt, and the board members have a capital project packet asked for that. So it's about 41 and change.
We're fortunate that we're able to help fund that important organization here in the township. little bit, please. So you can see these are the transfers, this column here, these are the transfers that we've made and anticipated made. This column here is what we made, this is what we plan to make. So we're going to make our transfers this is our budget 2024 budget column. So we're going to fulfill our budgeted transfers here. And these are the transfers that we anticipate making in 2025. Very similar to the amount, very similar to our 2024 actuals, which is this column. And those monies will go into another fund. It's not like they're being spent. They're going to be going to another fund where they will be spent. Okay? So if you think of a fund as being a business, every fund has its own set of books. Okay? Cash, assets, liabilities, fund balance, income and expense. So that's, once you put it in there, then it acts as its own business and can spend it accordingly. So that's the general fund. So if we can go into the capital reserve fund, and we're there. So you can see we've got a decent amount of money in the capital reserve fund. So we're starting off with $926,000 anticipated in our 25 budget column. So you can see we're going to keep this in our high yield investments, and we're anticipating earning $30,000. We're just, that's at 25. We're anticipating earning $35,000 in interest in this fund, based upon the decisions that these guys have made to keep this money in high yielding investments. So we're going to make $45,000 in this account this year. So all that rolls into the next year, and I just want to point out that these numbers here, are the transfers, okay, into this fund out of general fund, which I pointed out in that fund. So if we go to the next slide, please. So you can see these are where some of the spending is going to occur for capital projects, as well as equipment. So, and help me out on these, Mark, if you look at that $100,000.
Sure, that's going to be for a generator replacement, which is about $52,000. And also our glorious microphone system has finally no longer functions. So the board has asked that we seek some type of audio upgrade. And we don't have a cost at this point, but when I started, the previous manager had an $80,000 quote, which I think is extremely high. So I just put a flat $50,000 just to do the high end, but obviously any actual expense for that upgrade would be in front of the board as a motion approved, and it would be a vendor quote.
So we're investing in our building.
Absolutely. This is updates. Yeah, this is keeping the administration building healthy and functioning properly. The generators is because we're a municipal building in a storm event or some type of emergency, we would open up our doors to the public.
This is the hub. This is
one of the hubs.
Exactly. So those are the projects specifically for this building. And below that, we've got a $30,000 on equipment, and you can certainly explain this mill head.
Sure, it's a head that fits on the skid steer that we have recently purchased, and that lets the road department cut a notch in the road between where we are, where we're doing the paving project and where the paving project ends. So sometimes that's in between intersections where the paving project stops. Correct me if I'm wrong, Don. It's also between that actual road cutout and the driveway, so we can make sure that when we fill it back in with our top coat, it's a level, even, and sealed top finish.
And right below it, you've got $250,000.
Sure, that number is actually going to be $265,000.75, and that's going to be replacing our current roadside mower, which is a farm tractor that has a lubricant attachment to it. It's reached the end of its lifespan with us. So there's a company called Normax that makes a very specific piece of equipment. The boom has a much greater range of motion. It is purpose-built for the work that the road crew does, cutting grass, brush, tree limbs back into the roadways. We do that as a service, so we make sure the residents have a clear line of sight. And now, obviously, that equipment, we will sell the old unit upon municipal bid, but what that is going to go for, we don't really know. So this unit should last us 15 or 20 years, so it's a needed investment.
Great, so with that additional $15,000, we're anticipating spending out of this fund in capital improvements $395,000. And we're anticipating having about a $750,000 fund balance at the end of the year, which is phenomenal, extremely healthy. We're going into the year with this $900,000 fund balance, which is our cash in this account. And we're spending it down, so it's dropping 150, but we're buying
$380,000.
Yeah, $20,000. And just taking a step back, after our general fund expenditures, which are anticipated to be larger, slightly larger than our general fund, we're still going to end up with $3.9 million in that fund, which is enviable on many of the other municipalities that are just really superior. Could you go to the next one, please? So this is our Liberty Fuels. This is the fund that's funded entirely by the state, and it's based upon the excise tax. The money that we get is the excise tax on gallons of gasoline, and it's a calculation that we do based upon the amount of roads that we have. So it's a amount of roads that we have and we have to maintain. The state sends us money based upon that, and you can see we are conservative there. We've got $302,000 for the development. Says the board is not to get they send one check in your March or something like that.
It happens after we upload our audit.
So that's $302,000. We enrolled this with the 297.
So this 297 is actually the estimate that PennDOT actually sent us, so that's what they believe we will receive. So we're using PennDOT's formula.
Yeah, it's interesting, with the advent of electric cars, they're not paying gasoline, so there's been some discussion as how they're on the roads, but that's probably one of the reasons that you're seeing a reduction in the amount of taxes that the state is collecting. The state, right below that $13,400 is the state comeback provides, so if we're maintaining state roads, they pay us to do that, so we do that.
Yeah, that comes from, we took over Supply Road here in about 2010, I believe it was, and we get paid so much per mile.
It's not a huge amount, but at least you get to keep the road.
Yeah, I think it's like a little over $12,000 a year for
Yeah.
Supply Road.
13.4, but it's what, 3 point some miles long.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's something.
Yeah, so don't get on the back page, you notice we have anticipated construction projects, and these are road-related projects, right? $400,000. We're not budgeting anything at all for, other than seal coat, which is an annual project expense, and line paint. With more snow and ice removal anticipated, he's going to have this fund as well. This fund is specific for anything road related, stoplights, street lights, and road repairs and maintenance and rebuild. But I think what we do this every other year, you're anticipating doing road projects.
So we're gonna do one large road project that we did this year, and then on the off years, which is next year, we're going to do a larger oil and chip seal coat. So we're gonna go back and forth.
So that's that one. Any questions so far?
I had a couple, if you want to continue through, then I'll circle back, or,
Go ahead.
so up to the general legal, fund, I just wanted.
What was the line in it?
Says we're in the general fund now?
404, 310.
404,310?
It's just the general 404, 300.
Sure.
And based on, based on some of our history that we've been having here with some people on the challenging things, we okay with that number?
I believe we are. I bet Beth can probably speak to it better, but I think I speak with Beth less than the previous manager.
I'm just
Your
not-
concern's more like a litigation type of issue.
I see more nuisance type stuff that we have to respond to and get into because certain people have issues that.
Why don't you circle that one, and you two guys talk.
Sure.
If you could,
Yeah.
push it up.
I just want to make sure that we're,
It's obviously, it's significantly down.
I mean, the one thing I'll say to that question, Sal, is the township has insurance that's going to cover you on the majority of claims that may roll. And so, for most things, if it escalates to something like significant legal battle, your insurance is likely to get involved, and you'll have coverage through that rather than my time.
what is that, it's kind of part B, to the part B, is just making sure that our typical members of responses and riders, because
Yeah, I mean,
it's what I consider frivolous
Okay.
type of stuff, that I just want to make sure that we cover everything.
So again, this is just estimates. Obviously, if something significantly changes and this doubles, well, then we do a budget amendment. Because again, we're just
Spend the
trying.
money to do what's.
Right, and then we just, we make that adjustment. So this is just us believing for most of the year next year it's status quo. This is just, we
I get you,
assume.
I just want to make sure that we're,
We're not having it, it's not like we're not gonna tell Beth to say
Consider
she's done with her hours.
it's
We'll just,
realistically,
yeah. So, I will talk to Beth and Peter offline and. if
Yeah, we
need to
can
adjust
tweak that.
Yeah, we can.
or if you're comfortable with that number, I just want to make sure that.
Sure, I'll speak with Beth and, yeah, we'll relate it to.
And then just more of an informational question for, I guess it's 430,196, health insurance. And is that, we feel pretty confident that that number, just because of,
So we budgeted at
I mean,
10%.
if you look back at 21, 22, 28, there's a pretty big jump in from 24.
Sure, so we've added another full-timer. And again, insurance premiums have been jumping up approximately 10% a year. I will be reaching out to our HMO, and they should be able to quote me what our prices will be. So we just budgeted high, it was 10% this year, 10% last year. Again, if we come in under,
I guess that's what my question was, is it kind of, did we know that number, or is it just a, I wasn't sure.
so I should be able to have a clearer number by the time this comes back in front of the board. So
We can talk to the insurance.
we'll call the insurance and we'll get a
See what
number.
he anticipates. They usually have to do that here, so we can do that.
And then the last item I had was the parks maintenance and repairs for.
In general or parks?
Just, yeah, just in general. So, well, I guess probably more related to 454, 247. Supplies and materials, I guess related into maintenance, if we need to replace some.
Isn't that a-
Stuff like that.
Yeah, we're in the parks budget. So you'll see we've taken some items out of the general and moved them. Part of my thought is that utilities, expenses, anything that's actually paid for the service of the rec should be shown in the rec budget because that's the appropriate fund. So we haven't gotten to rec yet, but you're gonna see those costs
I got it.
transferred to that. So that's what the blank
I got it.
are.
You budgeted for them in this fund this year,
But
Yes.
going forward, we
It's not that
decided.
you're not spending any money.
Correct, we transferred those revenue and expenditures out
Yeah,
into.
we're refining the
I got it.
process.
Yes.
I'm good.
Making that,
So part of that 60,000 that we're transferring, that we've been doing since the last few years, that encompasses those utilities.
Thank you.
okay.
Land Chris?
Very good. So this fund is funded by half of our earnings,
0.5 earnings.
half of our earnings income tax, which you can see is pretty substantial. So that 1.2 million is entirely from the taxes, there's revenue to this fund, and is used for purchases of easements, right, I guess?
Correct.
So, you can see, our interest, is gonna actually be up a little bit. Now it's gonna be down. We're projecting 2024, 34,000. If we ratchet it down to a more realistic 3%, which may be higher, but if that's the average for the year, that interest is going to be $245,000. Right below that, you see the minimum private expense. There was, and that was actually budgeted in 2024 and has not occurred. There were expenditures in prior years out of this fund that went into, I guess, part of the
Correct.
after further examination, we felt that it may not have been the best thing to do based upon the referendum. So that money, $897 can basically be a refund or transfer out of the government back into preservation. So the processing fees is $60,000. Processing fees are processing fees for $850,000 worth of
Easements that have been approved.
easement purchases that are approved. And the 17,000 professional services, you're going to update
The land preservation plan.
the
Yes.
actual plan itself
Right.
this year, so.
Can I jump in? Can you say a couple words about just so everybody understands why we're spending that money and the importance of it?
Absolutely, so just kind of like the comp plan, the land preservation plan is the guiding document for the conservation efforts of the township. So every handful of years, as we get more land eased, we need to reevaluate the needs of the funds of the township to preserve land. There is a set cost per acre that we typically offer for an easement. So we can actually tell how many acres we have preserved, and I believe it's over 2,200. The map closest to the parking lot shows our current used properties. So there's going to be a finite amount of money that the township will need to have in its funds, that if every single landowners that is able to preserve land decides to take that easement.
And
So-
that easement's in eternity, right?
That's a in perpetuity easement. So at some point, we're gonna be told we need 10 million, 15 million, whatever that number is, if every single easement would come in, and obviously, once our fund balance would hit that, then that would be a determination to the township that we have enough funds in our account to purchase all of them should they come forward, and then that would be the indicator for the municipality to no longer collect that income tax and remove it.
Yeah, so, again,
Yes, and I don't know what the number is, so that 10 or 15 is just me making up two numbers, but when this plan is done, there will be a number in that document telling us how much the township needs.
if all these property were to.
Correct, and then we would align, we could use that as a budget estimate over the next handful of years to determine what we need that.
Hopefully that information that's where, at the end of, we're projecting at the end of 2025, we're going to have 14 million in that fund, specifically to purchase easements and perpetuities to keep your township the way it is. Any questions? Okay. Next one's our operating reserve. And the operating reserve is basically a sort of a safety net in case the general fund gets dinged and need to dig into other places to help keep township afloat. And as you can see, there's really nothing to this fund. We're at $411,000 going in the year 2025. We're going to have anticipated interest of $12,000 versus $22,000 this year, which is a big drop, and that's really it. It just increases our fund balance by the years. So we're not anticipating spending anything out of this fund. Then we go into our recreation fund, I believe. So on the revenue side, that's this. This is all revenue. You can see proposed budget $60,000. That's the final transfer out of the general fund goes into this fund. So it adds to our cash and by not spending the money, it's what we do on the fund. So that's the next page, please. So the expenditures that we're anticipating out of this fund are recreation fund are $10,000. That first number of 25 expenditure column is for the review of the master plan.
Yeah, the park and rec, park, we would like to revisit the jump master plan and maybe see if there's something we can do at a more reasonable cost to update that park. So again, that's just the base number. I don't really have a estimate back from the landscape architect. I'm talking to him tomorrow. So again, by next month, you will have a proposal in front of you that should give us a cost based upon what I think.
So it's now at $25,000 for the expenditures that were previously in the general fund. Move over into the proper fund where the expenditures should come out. And $70,000, I believe, on a number of projects, one of which is $20,000 disc golf, $40,000 in the research parking lot. There's $10,000 for tree removal.
Tree in landscaping, putting in trees, landscaping and hardscaping.
And that takes up, and that basically is that, the detail of that $70,000. And then right below that, you see that $896,000 coming out of here, and that's the money that we're going to land appropriation, which brings our fund balance in that account to $133,000. So that is still significantly in the black. Ambulance EMS fund. The only thing I'd like to point out on this really is two things I should say. That $4,400, that's a payment in lieu of taxes by Telhi to us. They're a nonprofit organization that they have to recognize the fact that they're providing services and they're helping us cover those services by it's called the payment in lieu of taxes. And then we have a $55,000 payment over to the PMS. As we anticipate spending, just upon expenditure out of that fund. Any questions? Let's go moving along to the fire fund. Same situation. That first column was our 25 budget. That $14,650 is from Telhi. They recognize we provide their services, so they and they're not paying taxes, so they provide that to us very kindly. Third, to note that $18,000 that shield workers comp, that's state mandated. We have to they're going to pay for volunteer fire and workers' comp. So sometimes that's shared between municipalities that utilize or get services from the fire, and they have to do that. And then you can see below, you got 92,000, and with Honeybook, it's 2,000. And then there's that $78,000 that gets into, we'll see that in the very next fund, which is, that gets transferred into the fire capital fund, which is for their purchases of their capital equipment, such as trucks. So if you can go to the last fund, please. Yeah, the note, and we've got $291,000 anticipated going into 25. We're going to invest it in this local government trust, Pennsylvania Local Government Trust, which is specifically for municipalities. That's what we're holding money in all our funds is. It's been fabulously high. They basically take on money like treasurers, which will allow. Pennsylvania is very strict as to what municipalities can spend their money on. They set up a trust, Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, specifically for municipalities, and then they'll go and buy treasures, which, as you know, have been yielding about 5% probably the last 2 years. But anyway, that's what that money is. Yielding is $9,000. We anticipate down from 13 with the ratio of about $78,000 as I mentioned, which is transferred from the fire fund. And just really quick, the fire fund and the EMS fund, they share in the real estate taxes that we receive. That's how they get funded. And you know the millage.
So 0.5 of a mill goes to the fire and 0.15 mills goes to the EMS. And that's real estate tax.
So that money has to go into that fund. There are absolutely restricted dollars have to go in and have to be spent out of that fund. So with that, I conclude my presentation. If there's any questions, happy to take them. Crystal here, my associate. I'm very able associate. Maybe there are none. Madam Chair. So I think you have to, you got to tweak this, you know, you have it, I guess, in mind to tweak it, or you can pass it preliminary, and it's up to you guys what you want to do. And then 20 days to display it, and you can pass it. So these are, I think these budgets are pretty tight. You know, they're pretty close to being actual, so.
Just one thing, no proposed tax increases.
No, there's no proposed tax increase, not necessary. Every fund remains healthy, right, after our 25 budgeted income expenditures. Yeah, so with the current tax structure, we're fine. Yeah.
Just give a quick thanks, Crystal, Peter, and Warren, and they guys put a bunch of time into it, and crunching numbers and spreadsheets and all that stuff, and digest it a little bit more, but it really looks good, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, and I appreciate your time yesterday to meet with a member of the public to explain the budget and try to get some correct and factual information out in an understandable fashion. I appreciate that. And so hopefully that has cleared up any misinformation that is circulating within the township.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Other business. You want to talk about any other business? Okay. Open forum. Any other matter? Anyone on this side have anything? Jerry? All right. Can I call for adjournment? Motion to adjourn?
that motion? I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. And as always, if anyone has any questions or clarification, if they have a question about information they may have been given that's incorrect, they can come up and ask questions and get correct.
I can stay around too, if anybody has questions, I'll be happy to say this over there.
There you go. So if you have any misinformation you want to get cleared up, we're right here.
Hey, Don, I picked up the pipe.
Did it?
Yeah, as soon as I get it dug out. That stuff's not cheap these days, you know that? What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, man, the guy gave me the bottom line, I go, oh, well, in for a penny for him, give me the heavyweight stuff, so the price went boom, doubled, just like that.
Yeah, it's all one.